On a honeymoon in the Isle of Man, my husband's niece Emily suddenly went missing. When we found her, she fell into my husband's arms, covered in blood, cried and told me, "I no longer dare to have unrealistic thoughts about Lucas. Can you stop harming me? I am so scared. It hurts so much. Lucas is very angry. Cursing me out has made me lose my sanity. He believes it is just because of his concern for Emily. Only then would the gang go after her. He didn't listen to my explanations or justifications at all. As a result, I was locked in the red light district. People come to see me both during the day and at night. It even turned me into a vase princess. 6 months later, he travels the world with Emily. When returning to the Isle of Man, I remember the days when I was in the red light district. He brought Emily to see me. See how I am doing. He is in front of me. Let Emily feed him wine. I maintained a smile throughout. They didn't care at all about the intimate actions between them. Finally, he looked satisfied. The performance has stopped. Say, you finally understood. That way, I can rest assured to let you become Emily's aunt. I have been a bit silly for a long time. Only greet guests with a smiling face. Seeing that I do not respond, just a silly smile, he suddenly got angry. What are you still getting angry about? I have locked you up here for 6 months. But this is my place. Who would dare not to respect you? It's just a boring performance that took you half a year to watch. Are you trying to make a fuss with me? He finished speaking, kicking over with anger, kicked down the vase where I was hiding. I fell out. Scattered on the ground are pieces of broken porcelain. There are some bloodstains on it. To see if I have been a bit more well-behaved, he brought Emily to the performance venue. He specifically requested me, the newly promoted star, to perform for him. I was placed in a vase, lifted onto the stage. The dancer performs various captivating acts beside me. Lucas is sitting in the VIP area, holding Emily in my arms. The two were intimate as if no one else was around. He has been staring at me, seeing me smile at him. Only then did they let go of Emily. Then he waved at me, said with a smile, "It seems that you have really matured. Finally, I won't get jealous easily anymore." He feels a bit helpless. They also explained to me with a bit of affection, "Don't get me wrong, Isabella. Emily just wanted to help me confirm whether you have changed. That's why I suggested that I kiss you. See if you'll get angry." It indeed did not disappoint me. You have really grown up. It's impressive that you can still remain calm at this point. I can finally marry you and bring you home without worries. Let you become Emily's aunt. Now you understand your mistake, right? Let's go home together. He looked at me tenderly. I don't talk much, because I have become a tool that people enjoy using. I can only smile foolishly and watch others do those things to me, then make a sound of agreement. He didn't come to do anything to me. I don't know how to react. Just keep inviting, don't go. I haven't had enough fun yet. Lucas, who was originally relaxed in the audience, he was stunned when he heard my words. The gaze revealed a sense of disbelief. What are you talking about? Isabella, how could you say something like that? He stood up a bit anxiously. The complexion is not very good. Who made you teach my wife to say these words? I invited her to be a VIP audience member for the performance. I didn't ask you to teach her anything else. Emily, who had been placed on the sofa by him, suddenly began to cry. You must have seen that I haven't left my uncle yet. That's why I intentionally said those things to make my uncle angry. Right. Aunt, even Uncle Kai is angry. Such embarrassing remarks shouldn't be said. What does it mean to be unwell enough? Did you raise a boyfriend here? Ah, I was joking. Emily seemed a bit nervous. It feels like saying the wrong thing. Lucas was filled with anger. Isabella, I called you here to have you face punishment. Instead of letting you come here to flirt with other men, who dares to be with my woman, I must settle the score with him. Lucas is very angry, Emily added. Aunt, you are too confident. I feel that my uncle only has you in his heart. Lucas heard this, angry but ended up laughing instead. I originally intended not to tell you about this. I didn't expect you to give me a surprise first. I have decided to take care of Emily for a lifetime, although I cannot give her an official status. But I will give her everything as my wife. If you don't start acting sensibly soon, I won't leave you any formal recognition. I will go straight to marry Emily and make her my wife. He finished saying this. Seeing that I had no reaction, still looking blank, he asked me again, "Did you cheat or not?" Seeing that I didn't respond, he sighed. "It seems to be understood. I knew that you loved me so much. How could you possibly betray me? This is just speaking out of anger, isn't it?" He spoke to me softly. "Isabella, don't blame me and Emily. If you need to blame someone, blame yourself for losing your happiness. Emily's father is my brother-in-law. He asked me to take good care of his daughter before he passed away. As a result, You became jealous for no reason. Emily's most precious reputation has been ruined. I cannot guarantee that other men besides me will always cherish her. I don't know if they will look down on her for having been hurt by someone else. He approached me step by step. Say, Isabella, be obedient, okay? Stop making things difficult for Emily. I promise to be mostly by your side in the future. His words made me realize that the situation was not good. I feel my whole body shivering. When I first resisted the thugs who broke into my room, for the first time, I was captivated by various pieces of jewelry, when covered in blood. There was also the moment when I was treated as a trophy princess. Every time it was the first time. I cried and resisted. Their response is to obey. Then, even more terrifying punishments and torments will follow. Even my hands and feet could be broken, just to make me behave and obey. The 2 words obedient later became my greatest fear. I can hardly contain the smile on my face. The body trembled, pleading for mercy. I am really well behaved. Feel free to use me. When I finished saying this sentence, Lucas's figure swayed unsteadily, almost fell. He hurried onto the stage. His eyes were filled with red blood vessels. The lips kept trembling. What are you talking about, Isabella? Are you still joking? He finally doesn't want to oppose me anymore. Eyes are red. He spoke to me with his head down. I'm sorry, Isabella. I'm no longer angry. Don't say those things again. I really feel distressed. Those words were said in anger. I will take care of Emily, like before. Treat her like a member of the family. You will always be my wife. I only love you. He had just finished speaking. Emily's expression changed below, gave me a fierce glare. She walked up quickly and stood in front of him. She was hit by my porcelain vase. The whole person awkwardly fell backward. The glass of wine in my hand shattered. There are fragments everywhere. Her hand is pressing on it. A few drops of red liquid stained the instantly white floor. Aunt, why do you have to treat me like this? She said while crying. Isabella, what exactly is wrong with you? Lucas held Emily tightly. Shout at me. Why did you push Emily? I bit my lip tightly. Dare not to say anything that is not flattering. Because it is here. As long as you say something unappealing, we'll face various punishments. 3 months ago, I resisted the thug who entered my room and insulted me for the first time. I knocked him down with a beer bottle. Then I hid in the bathroom and called Lucas for help. Outside the bathroom, there are sounds of those thugs violently banging on the door. I called that familiar number repeatedly while crying in extreme fear. Lucas, you answer the phone. Lucas, come help me. Perhaps my heartfelt plea touched the heavens. The call finally went through. I begged while sobbing. I was wrong. Lucas, please come and help me. Take me away quickly. The person on the other end of the phone was taken aback by my cries. What happened? Who bullied you, Isabella? However, he had not finished speaking. There came Emily's scream from over there. I'm sorry, uncle. I shouldn't have pursued you. Otherwise, Auntie, who is such a proud person, wouldn't ask for your forgiveness. Lucas hung up the phone, said with a furrowed brow, What are you talking about? I promised my brother-in-law that I would take care of you for the rest of your life. If it's not worth accepting my care, then you are not worthy of being my wife. He picked up the phone again. The bathroom door was smashed open. I was scared and in pain from the glass shards, scream, but all I could hear was his cold, icy voice. You made Emily this way. Do you still have the face to call me Isabella? Your acting skills are really great. I almost thought something really happened to you. You shouldn't be a dancer. You should go act. They held the red-hot branding iron close to my mouth. This sound is quite pleasant. I certainly don't want you to become mute. You must remember the lesson. Only words that please the guests can be spoken. The others must not make any sound. My scream was drowned out by the piercing sound. Isabella, stop messing around. How long do you want to keep making a fuss? Do I really have to completely give you up? Will you only stop then? Why are you unwilling to let Emily go? He looked at me with a face full of anger and confusion. Wait for my answer. But I bit my lip tightly. Nothing can be said. He was very disappointed. How did you become so cold and heartless? I just smiled foolishly. He might find my smile a bit provocative. He pulled my hair. I want to pull me out of the vase. You come out here. Apologize to Emily. Emily was a bit anxious. I'm afraid he will really pull me out. Let him see me hurt. She instantly ran into his arms crying. Say, Uncle, I'm so scared. Am I the only one who has died? Will you no longer suffer? At that moment, he no longer had the heart to care about my feelings. Only Emily is in my heart. Emily, don't think that way. The one who deserves to die should be that bad person, Isabella. Uncle, are you reluctant to see me die? Emily gave his chin a casual kiss. That little uncle. Can you kiss me? Give me the courage to keep on living. Lucas looked at her gently. You are the rose that your uncle cherishes carefully. How could your uncle let you get hurt? He glanced at me. He leaned down and kissed her. This kiss appeared particularly intense and powerful. It felt like a punishment for me. He held Emily in his arms. The intimacy between the two is so profound that it is hard to look at. He let go of Emily. Emily seemed exceptionally fragile in his arms. He turned his head and looked at me angrily. The tone was filled with pain and grievance. Isabella, it is not that we have wronged you, but you have pushed us to this point. It is you who made the distance between us grow. It is like this now. Are you satisfied? But what he saw, it's not that I'm jealous or regretful. It's not like before when I would cry and complain about how they betrayed me, but I am curled up inside the porcelain vase, with a smile of compliment. Looking at him timidly, the expression on his face instantly turned pale and feeble. What's wrong with you, Isabella? Why aren't you angry? He was a bit flustered. I want to find a reason to explain my reaction. You are definitely pretending, right? Want me to feel guilty? Take the initiative to apologize to you. Isn't it you succeeded? Isabella, I don't want to see your indifferent smile anymore. What will it take for you to be all right? Can you say something? If I am still awake now, you might find it amusing. He pleaded with me in such pain. It seems that I am the one who hurt him, but in reality, I am the one who has been influenced by him to the point of losing my composure. In fact, the one who seeks to keep me alive is also me. Are you still blaming me for shutting you out for half a year? He watched my reaction, speaking. I just want you to understand. Women under the control of local gangs are extremely unfortunate. Let you know how much your methods for dealing with Emily are offensive. You enjoy it well here. Still VIP. What exactly is the dissatisfaction? He seemed to suddenly realize something. Do you think what I just did with Emily was wrong? This is just one way to help her with her treatment. He suddenly pushed Emily away. Emily, don't take what your uncle just said too seriously. Uncle just wants you to be more aware. Stop blaming yourself. Emily listened to what was said. The confusion on his face instantly turned into resentment, but she quickly suppressed her emotions. Uncle, I understand. This is just a method of treatment. Aunt, don't be angry about this. Lucas gently patted her head with relief. The look in their eyes was filled with disappointment and reproach. Isabella, Emily, as the victim, is still apologizing to you. She thought of you. What else are you dissatisfied with? Can you come out for a moment? If you can give Emily a sincere and earnest apology, I won't pursue this matter any further. I will take you back to your country right away. Is it good? He tiredly pressed his brow. Tell me, it's okay if you're not willing to apologize. As long as you promise not to hurt Emily again in the future, that's fine. Isabella, I know you've always hoped to have your own home and children. After this matter is concluded, we can go back home immediately to get ready for having children. How is it? What he doesn't know is, I can no longer possess these in order to make me a useful tool. My uterus has long been removed. If I leave this place, I would just collapse to the ground like a pile of mush. It will die soon. I can never leave here. There will no longer be a home or children of their own. Lucas looked at me with anticipation. What I can give him? Just a smile and some mechanical flattery. Do not return to your home country. Stay with me. Lucas's shoulders relaxed all of a sudden. The person looked at me with a sense of helplessness and despair. Her eyes were filled with confusion and fear. He asked, why can you only say these few sentences? It seems to suddenly understand something. His face immediately turned pale. Isabella, you have never been willing to leave this porcelain vase. What's wrong with you? What happened? He seemed a little anxious. I want to come over to check my body. It's all my fault. Emily suddenly broke down, crying sadly while kneeling on the ground. The area is covered in broken glass. She picked up the glass shards, want to cut their wrist, choked with emotion. Only when I am dead. Will you only forgive your uncle then? I'm going to die now. This way it won't make my uncle sad anymore. Blood dripped down her wrist. She cried very sadly. I really envy you for being able to openly have Lucas and his love. If I were you, I will never compete for affection with his beloved niece. Nor would it put him in such a predicament. You clearly have the best partner. Why not cherish it? He knows he needs to make up for his mistakes. You have to stay with me all night. Are you afraid something might happen to me? You know, I wake up in his arms every night. Seeing him frown made my heart ache. Lucas heard this. Stop immediately. Turn and walk towards Emily. He originally felt worry and pain for me in his heart, slowly faded away under Emily's questioning. Silly Emily, this has nothing to do with you. He trembled all over. It seems that they feel very disappointed by my lack of understanding, The tone was filled with bitterness. Even if you have some misplaced feelings for me, but you are still just a child. How can such a relationship be taken seriously? However, Isabella was affected by these trivial matters for the rest of her life. However, don't be upset, Aunt. This is all for the treatment recommended by the psychologist. Emily has been staring at me. It seems like they want to see the breakdown on my face. Although I haven't completely figured out the situation yet, but every scene she portrayed it to make me feel heartbroken. This pain pulled me back from confusion. Just when I was suffering and feeling helpless, she is enjoying happiness with him. Tears flowed uncontrollably down my cheeks. Emily, let's not talk about this. Lucas frowned and interrupted her. It seems a bit uncomfortable and uneasy. He turned to me and said, I just want to address this matter. I want to make up for the mistakes I've made. Isabella, can you forgive me? I looked at him. The eyes were filled with despair and sorrow. Lucas, why do you treat me this way? See the tears streaming down my face. He felt very uncomfortable. Kneel before me. Carefully reached out. I'm sorry, Isabella. I know that it doesn't matter what the reason is. I have betrayed you. Can you do it for the sake of the feelings I want to make up for? Forgive me. Give us a chance to start over. I strive to regain my sanity, but the pain and shadows in my heart nearly drowned me. I don't have time to care about what he said and did earlier. I begged him while crying. I am in a lot of pain. Lucas, save me. I am really in pain. Lucas heard my cries, immediately frightened, hastily came over and desperately pulled me out of the porcelain bottle. What's wrong with you, Isabella? What exactly happened? He saw the bright red liquid stained on his hands. Her eyes were also red. What is going on? Is someone bullying you? I will take you to the hospital. Emily is very anxious. Hurry and take out your phone. Just as I was about to be taken away by Lucas from the porcelain vase, the door was suddenly pushed open. Several dark-skinned, strong men walked in. They saw Emily sitting on the ground. He immediately spoke in a teasing tone. Is this the gift that Isabella gave us? Isabella said, as long as we take care of that little girl, she will smoothly become Mrs. Lucas. Another man leered with a lewd smile. I just don't know how she compares to Isabella. Who is more attractive? Lucas never expected that someone would dare to have designs on his brother-in-law's daughter right in front of him. He hardly thought about it. Just let me go. Rush forward. With a single punch, he knocked them to the ground. Who are you? Dare to touch my Emily? It's simply asking for trouble. The several strong men immediately knelt down and begged for mercy. I beg you. Lucas overall. It was Isabella who told us the box number. She said to wait until she distracts you. Let's go in and deal with Emily. She also said it would be best to get rid of Emily. This way, no one could stop her from becoming Mrs. Lucas. One of them took out their phone to show Lucas. Above is the chat record between me and them. I said, later, I will pretend to be injured. It hurts a lot. Deceived Lucas into taking me to the hospital. I also said, after we leave, you all go in. Be a bit tougher. It's best to get rid of the person. Haha, who dares to compete with me, Isabella? For a husband, wait until she is dealt with. I also want to share her experience online. Let everyone take a look. Lucas held his phone tightly, pale face. Her gaze seemed to swallow me whole. He said angrily, you have been lying to me all along, when I am on the verge of breaking down from worrying about you. Are you still secretly mocking me? This fool, I've fallen into your trap, I explained while crying. No, I really am not like that. I hurt a lot. Lucas, please save me. Just take me away. I will no longer involve myself in your matters with Emily. He looked straight at me, silenced for a long time. Finally, he let out a bitter laugh. I never expected to fall in love with a woman as cruel-hearted as you. Isabella, you have no heart at all. You don't deserve my love. Lucas seemed to be really angry, kicked my ceramic vase off the high stage. With a crisp shatter, the bottle shattered into pieces instantly on the ground. I fell out of the bottle, fell onto the scattered porcelain shards, injured immediately, blood splattered. My legs and arms are tightly entangled in the beaded curtain. It looks terrible, like a terrifying monster. Lucas, who was still angry, saw me like this. Her face immediately turned very pale. Isabella, how did you end up like this? He is kneeling at the side of the stage, staring at me in shock. Isabella, he cried out in pain, want to rush down the stage. Lucas, it's our fault. The bodyguards suddenly began to kowtow to the ground. It's really strange that we had so much fun playing with Mrs. Lucas. It has turned out like this. In fact, we can't be blamed entirely. Another bodyguard said with a worried expression, we were originally just her bodyguards. Accompany her to see a performance. Who knows that Mrs. Lucas is becoming more and more addicted? As a result, It forces us to do things we don't want to do. That's right, a bodyguard then said. We all have homes and wives, but Mrs. Lucas said that once we take the money, we have to do the work. Otherwise, you will be fired directly. Also, a significant amount of liquidated damages for breach of contract will need to be paid. In addition, she also said, he carefully looked at the trembling Lucas, who was furious, immediately fell silent, continue speaking. Lucas's expression was sullen, made a few henchmen feel nervous, started to stutter. He said Lucas always treats her like a treasure. Even in bed, I don't dare to exert myself. I don't feel anything. Men like us feel comfortable. At that moment, a loud noise suddenly rang. A thug fell to the ground in response. Fresh red blood oozed from the forehead. Another thug was completely frightened and panicked. The pants are wet. A strong, pungent smell filled the air. Lucas looked at me from a distance, struggling in that brokenness. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath. Speak. Isabella, you have deeply disappointed me. Everything I have given to you. It unexpectedly became an excuse for your infidelity. Make you turn out like this. In the past, you were like a deity in my heart. I love you so much. Afraid that you might get hurt, I have always wanted to lift you up, even if you turned Emily into this. I don't want to punish you either. I just wanted to scare you a little. But you actually abandoned yourself like this. He smiled wryly. What am I, like a fool toyed with by you? I am worried about you, afraid that you would rather believe that others have harmed you secretly. I can't believe that you have done this to yourself. His expression gradually became indifferent. The love in my gaze has faded. There is no aversion either. Only strangeness and coldness remain. Since you like it this way, I will fulfill your wishes. Consider this my farewell gift to you. So much blood. He is at a high place. How could I be noticed that I can no longer speak? He just looked at me coldly. It seems to be under a lot of pressure. Her lips became increasingly pale. Then he staggered out. The sound of the door closing separated him and me. Emily observed me for a while. I saw myself lying in a pool of blood, no longer struggling. A satisfied smile appeared. She ran out while jumping. Go after Lucas, just walked out the door. I saw Lucas lying by the side of the road, pale complexion. Curl up, Lucas. What's wrong with you? Emily was startled. Dare not to approach, worried that he might have some serious illness. Shall I call the doctor? How did it suddenly become like this? She glanced around, turn around and want to leave, but she saw Lucas sitting up with great difficulty. There was a glimmer of despair in the eyes. He was breathing rapidly, talking to oneself. I can't let Isabella down. I can't treat her like this. How can I be angry with her, even if she enjoys those things? I'll just play with her from now on. She is already so weak. I can't leave her there alone. Emily's expression became very excited. What are you talking about? Isabella deserves it. Stop being so stubborn. You don't understand. Lucas responded excitedly. I can't live without her, no matter how bad she is. I cannot lose her. He tried hard to stand up, say, I regret it. I shouldn't have let people treat her that way. I want to make amends for all of this. He finished speaking and took out his phone to call a subordinate, but the call was never connected. The struggle on his face was overshadowed by pain and profound regret. I am really a fool. He immediately switched to another number and dialed. Isabella, please answer the phone. Didn't expect that. The ringtone sounded from Emily's phone. Lucas suddenly looked up. Your phone is ringing. Emily, why is your phone ringing at this time? Emily's expression became somewhat flustered, but she quickly calmed down. Said with a tone of pity, she is my best friend. She knows that I was harmed by my own aunt. Don't worry about me for no reason. She was afraid he would notice something. He pretended to receive a phone call and hurriedly left. Lucas didn't pay attention to her unusual behavior, turned around and dashed towards the conference hall, thinking that even a 1-second delay might lead to trouble. At that moment, a subordinate rushed over. The expression on the face was very complex. Boss, Miss Emily just threw something into the sea. She just threw it away. Why are you telling me this? Lucas responded unhappily. However, this thing, it seems to belong to the lady. The subordinate then said. Lucas's expression changed from impatience to confusion. It became serious in the end. He took a glance. It turned out that the phone case was a couple's phone case he had customized himself. Only he and Isabella have it. No one else will have it. Lucas suddenly felt a wave of unease. Quickly open your phone to check the chat history. Flipped through one after another. The expression gradually darkened. He calmly stopped in his tracks. Speak slowly. No need to tell them to stop. Continue. The messages in the phone are all from Isabella to those thugs. The content starts with the kidnapping of Emily. To tease the bodyguard. let them accompany her in doing some inappropriate things. Every piece of information made him feel more anxious. He held the phone for a while, let out a cold laugh. I am truly the stupidest man in the world, played around by you. Isabella, I will never be soft-hearted again. However, why did Emily hide it from me? Take away Isabella's phone. Also thrown into the sea, I think. She may be afraid that knowing the truth would make me very sad. I was really wrong. A man covered in blood ran over from a distance, shouting. Lucas took a closer look. The man was one of the lovers I was just accused of having in the meeting. His expression turned extremely cold. The subordinate who came out scolded. Aren't you supposed to take care of him? Why can't you even handle such a small matter properly? I was really wrong. I have no relationship with my wife at all. It's all the young lady who asked us to do this. I deceive you. The thug, terrified, begged for mercy while kowtowing. He said, as long as we do as she instructs, it made you misunderstand that the lady was cheating. Each of us can receive 1 million. She also said that she would protect us no matter what happens. I sincerely realize my mistake. I beg you not to kill me. I have a wife and children at home. He kept begging for mercy. She even took out her phone from her pocket. I have a recording. All of this can be proved. Please let me off this time. In the video, Emily's face is faintly visible. At the same time, she spoke in an arrogant tone. I will contact you using Isabella's phone later. You should do as I say. Got it? Anger flashed in Lucas's eyes. Bring Emily to me. When Emily was brought in, she cried and struggled. After seeing Lucas, I kept seeking help. They hurt me. Please let them release me. Lucas grabbed her collar directly. You speak honestly. Are the 2 men who just appeared at the venue arranged by you? Emily screamed loudly as she struggled. Is that woman telling you some untrue things? She just wants to drive a wedge between us. Please don't believe her. Lucas's lips trembled. Throw the phone at her face. You still want to continue deceiving me? Take a look at this. The phone left a red mark on her face, fell to the ground. Her confident voice was playing on a loop. Emily saw this scene. Her face suddenly turned very pale, after stammering for a while. Suddenly began to cry. I just want to take revenge on her. She took you away from me. Still want me to have a bad time. You know I watched her with you. How painful is it in your heart? I just want revenge. Lucas let go, step back a few paces and stare at Emily. So, you conspired with those 2 people to deceive me into thinking that Isabella was cheating. He was extremely angry. What exactly happened to the wounds on her body? What else did you do to her? There really is none left. Emily's eyes were filled with tears. Pounced into Lucas's arms. Uncle, I just asked them to accompany me in acting. I also don't know how Isabella became like that. Perhaps she likes it herself. Leave. Don't come any closer to me. Lucas pushed her away. He wanted to blame Emily, but deep down I understand. All of this is because I am jealous. Only then did Emily lose her innocence. He took a deep breath. Question, you have taken revenge. It seems that your relationship with her has come to an end. I won't let Isabella pursue you, but don't show up in front of her and me in the future. However, he was still late when he opened the door. I saw a few subordinates cleaning the bloodstains on the ground. Where is she? Where is Isabella? Lucas charged forward like an angry beast. Miss Isabella was taken away by your subordinate Jason. Jason, where did he take my wife? Hurry up and say it. Of course, it will be done according to your instructions. Take her to the basement and deal with it. Lucas hurried down to the basement. Because of being too anxious, she even tripped on the steps. He fell onto a person wrapped in white cloth. Boss, what brings you here? Jason said with a smile. The matter has been resolved. Before long, she died. Who allowed you to touch her? Why was she killed so quickly? Lucas is already feeling very overwhelmed. He is holding a piece of white cloth, fingers trembling, want to uncover. I didn't ask you to play with her first. Why did you act so quickly? It's only been 5 minutes. He cried loudly. The sight of a complete breakdown frightened all the subordinates present into silence. Jason, I called you, sent a text message. Don't let her move. I really regret it. Why don't you take a look? Jason said awkwardly. There's no signal in the basement, boss. Moreover, he said with some confusion. I didn't kill her. Our people didn't really bother her. She was not angry anymore. What are you talking about? You are talking nonsense. She is clearly fine. She even winked at me before I left. Lucas was almost out of breath, holding that white cloth. The body trembled incessantly. Blink, Jason thought of something. She died from a cut to her throat by a piece of broken porcelain. You see her blink. It should be a last plea for help. The sentence struck Lucas like a bolt of lightning. He froze in place, tightly holding the white cloth in hand. The eyes remained fixed on the bloodstains above. It's me. I killed you. I killed the one I love the most." He had just finished speaking, suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, just fell on the white cloth. Jason saw him faint, said immediately, "Hurry and take him to the hospital." "So this," the subordinates pointed at the white cloth on the ground, "it's very inauspicious, just take it and burn it in the stove." Jason said impatiently, "Hurry up." After Lucas woke up, I heard Jason say that Isabella's body has been taken care of, burned completely clean. No one can find out. Result? He coughed up blood again, was urgently sent to the emergency room. Half a month has passed, just escaped from danger. Lucas's cheeks are noticeably sunken. He is just in his early 30s. The past half-month has felt like I've aged over 20 years. The person looks very haggard, the first thing after being discharged. It's back to the basement, carefully collected some ash from the stove, hidden in one's own chest, the place closest to the heart. It seems to be the last motivation for him to survive. I just want to take revenge for me, settle scores with those who have hurt me in the past. Jason seems to regret having accidentally hurt his lover. I also feel very guilty for not being able to help me in a timely manner during the months I was imprisoned and abused on the Isle of Man. He worked hard to uncover all the truths. He interrogated all the hired thugs. Lucas ultimately discovered a truth that left him filled with regret and pain. Took Emily away at the beginning. The person who harmed her, it was not arranged by me at all. It has nothing to do with me. This was all Emily's idea. She leverages her identity as Lucas's sister. In addition to Lucas's affection and trust in her, planned a conspiracy with the person in charge of the Isle of Man. She pretended to be someone who was kidnapped by me, humiliated. Then they spent money to have someone come and humiliate and abuse me. They even wanted to turn me into a trophy princess. In the end, she impersonated me using my phone, manufacture some so-called evidence that I conspired to have my lover bully her. Lucas sensed layers upon layers of conspiracy. Almost suffocated him. He clutched his chest, could not help but sob. It took a long time to start crying. "Isabella, sorry, I really did the wrong thing." At this moment, he began to reflect on all of his irrational actions from before. He clearly knows that Isabella can't do anything wrong. Even when I saw Emily steal a kiss from me back then, Isabella simply asked him calmly what he planned to do next. At that time, she said, "I respect you. If you have someone else in your heart, I will leave directly. I don't want to put you in a difficult position, but if you choose me, I hope you can explain it clearly to that little girl. Don't let her feel confused in this relationship, wasting one's youth." He once promised to have a clear conversation with Emily, will also send her away, but he was momentarily confused, looking at Emily's tearful eyes and flushed lips. He impulsively agreed to let her accompany him through their honeymoon. Before leaving, he clearly had many opportunities to change all of this. When saying goodbye to Emily, he asked her not to follow him. "I firmly believe that Isabella is not that kind of person. Isabella shouldn't have been left on the Isle of Man." Also, when I received that call, he went back to save her. All choices, he chose the worst one. Lucas kept coughing, blood flowed from his fingertips. The doctor's report says he has developed heart failure of unknown reason, may not survive until the end of this year. They suspect it is some kind of virus. But Lucas believes this is a punishment from heaven. He refused treatment, decide to accept one's punishment. What Lucas did in the end, it is to have someone bring Emily back. Emily initially pretended to be pitiable, want to win sympathy, continuously express love for Lucas. However, looking at his indifferent expression, she ultimately couldn't hold back anymore. "You are so selfish. You really think I like you that much? You seem so inattentive." She pretended to be deeply emotional. "It's really disappointing. Lucas, can you really say that you've never had feelings for me? The time I stole a kiss from you, you are clearly awake, just pretending to be asleep. When I kiss you, you also took the initiative to respond. If it weren't for being seen by Isabella, you have been with me for a long time. It was also said that it was to accompany me for treatment. Haha, it's so funny. On the first day, just when I was about to give up, you seem very relaxed. Also said to me to try again, make an effort to complete the task. You insist on making me continue. You are truly deceiving others." As a result, she ended up believing it too. "I just can't be that serious. What's wrong? I just want to be Mrs. Lucas. Is there any problem? One must consider oneself. People like you should face challenges. You really disappoint me." Lucas looked a bit downcast. After she finished scolding, whisper, "I'm sorry to Isabella. I will use my life to make up for hers. Emily, or say Emily, you should apologize to Isabella as well." finished speaking, he commanded the person next to him. The pain that Isabella has experienced, I want her to experience it once. Emily screamed in fright. Lucas, you are really too much. Let go of me. Her screams were muffled by the closed door. Lucas sits beside the table. I am writing a letter that I will never be able to receive. Perhaps it's a farewell letter. Maybe it's an apology letter. But who knows when Jason took out the letter? My expression is calm. He smiled and said, "That guy even wants me to burn things in front of your grave. What bad luck." His hand trembled. The envelope fell into the fireplace. I heard the caregiver say, "You are recovering well, can already walk." I relaxed for a moment. Yes, next month I will no longer need to do rehabilitation. However, it seems there may be no chance of continuing to dance. My expression is a bit downcast. However, he quickly picked himself up again. However, I have decided to become a choreographer, continue to shine behind the scenes. I looked at him with gratitude. Thank you. At that time, you helped me conceal Lucas, take me for treatment. That day, after Lucas gave the order, Jason immediately arranged for someone to take me to the hospital. Later, it was heard that he had gathered the white cloth used for mopping the floor and was preparing to burn it. I didn't expect to be mistaken for me by Lucas. I learned about it through Jason. Lucas thought that I was seriously injured because of him, coughing up blood and hospitalized. In response to this, I only show some hatred and indifference. Jason expressed his long-standing dissatisfaction with Lucas's insincerity. It seems noble on the surface. In reality, they indulge their subordinates in harming others. He has always wanted to deal with Lucas. I exerted a lot of effort to rescue those poor girls who were forced into the dance troupe for various reasons. But unexpectedly, just after settling the girl down, he discovered that he was actually putting his wife's safety at risk. If it weren't for the way he did this to me this time, I didn't even know he was doing such unethical things behind my back. His anger deepened even more, even thought about putting an end to him directly. When will the poison you gave him take effect? I asked him. Coughing up blood and being hospitalized is definitely not a punishment from heaven. That was the drug Jason had given him. Soon, Jason smiled gently and said, I plan to give him a special gift. I don't quite understand what he means. However, it was a year later that I fully recovered. The day of returning to the stage, I just realized what the gift he was talking about was. It was the third day of my comeback performance, encore performance. Jason smiled at me from backstage. I am putting in a lot of effort. I worry that your debut might be affected by some negative events, so it wasn't until the third day that they made their appearance. I hope you like the gift I gave you. I stepped onto the stage feeling somewhat lost. Today's performance is newborn. I keep spinning to the beat, then rotate again. Yu Guangzhong saw Lucas in the center of the stage. Her face was filled with shock and regret. It seems that he heard Jason speaking to him. Did you see it? Your lover. She miraculously came back to life. Today marks her new beginning. She is about to greet a new life. And you, just bear the consequences. Lucas started coughing up blood, body convulsions, gazing at me with a dazed expression. I no longer look at him, continue to spin in the spotlight, running toward the far end of the stage, unwilling to look back. Always move towards the light. Jason turned his gaze away. Push Lucas, who has already lost his life. Out, so unlucky. You must not let anyone discover that you died here. Otherwise, it would ruin Isabella's best stage. Outside the ballroom, the sunshine is just right. He watched me spin continuously in the dance hall. Speak softly. I wish you happiness in the future, Isabella.